I used to believe my husband would never betray me, but now, every time I smell that unfamiliar perfume, I feel the ghost of another woman standing between us. My name is Elena Foster, and I thought I had the kind of marriage people envied. We'd been together for 8 years. We owned a cozy home on Maple Drive, hosted Sunday dinners, shared passwords, and even finished each other's sentences. My husband, Dylan, was charming, too charming maybe. He worked as a senior project manager at a tech firm and often came home late, blaming deadlines and client dinners. I trusted him, the way you trust the ground beneath your feet, until the cracks started showing. At first, they were small things: missed calls, unexplained trips, the faint scent of floral perfume when he hugged me goodnight. I told myself I was imagining it, that stress was making me paranoid. But deep down, I knew something had shifted in his eyes. They used to soften when he looked at me. Now they just scanned me, as if measuring how much longer he could keep pretending. It started one Friday night. Dylan called to say he'd be home late again, another urgent client dinner. When he finally came home around midnight, I greeted him in the kitchen, smiling like nothing was wrong. That's when I saw it. A faint lipstick stain on the collar of his crisp white shirt. It wasn't my shade. I hadn't worn lipstick in days. My stomach twisted, but I kept my face still. The smell of perfume hit next. Light, floral, unfamiliar. It clung to him like guilt. "Long night?" I asked softly. He laughed, poured himself a drink, and said, "Elena, you've got to stop watching those crime shows. You're getting paranoid." He kissed my forehead, smirking, and walked away. I just stood there, gripping the counter so hard my nails left marks in the wood. That night, as I lay awake, I realized something about betrayal. It doesn't come like a thunderstorm. It creeps in quietly, through laughter, perfume, and lies told with a smile. Over the next few days, I stopped questioning him. I smiled more, nodded more, pretended to believe every word. But behind that smile, I was preparing for war. I ordered 2 small, discreet cameras online, one for the living room, one for the hallway. Dylan had a business trip coming up, 2 nights away. That was my window. The first evening he was gone, I installed the cameras carefully, hidden behind a vase and inside a bookshelf. I tested the feed on my phone. It worked perfectly. For 2 days, I waited. When he came back, he seemed lighter, happier, and that's when I knew. 3 days later, while Dylan was at work, I sat at the kitchen table, coffee in hand, heart pounding, and opened the recorded footage. For a while, there was nothing unusual. Just him walking in, dropping his briefcase, scrolling on his phone. Then, a knock at the door. He walked over, smiled, and opened it. My best friend, Claire, stepped inside. Claire, the same woman who helped me plan our wedding, the one who cried with me when my mother died, the one who said Dylan and I were the perfect couple. She was laughing, holding a bottle of wine, slipping off her heels like she'd done it 100 times before. Dylan kissed her, not a hesitant, guilty kiss, a practiced one. I froze. It was like watching my life burn down through a screen. They talked, laughed, moved to the couch. At one point, she picked up one of our framed wedding photos, looked at it, and smirked. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there, completely still, like my soul had left my body. That night, Dylan came home as usual. He kissed my cheek and asked if I wanted takeout. I said yes. We ate dinner. He told me about meetings and new clients. I nodded, pretending to care. When he went upstairs to shower, I looked at him and realized I didn't feel love anymore. I felt strategy. I spent the next few days carefully, methodically planning what I'd do. Claire was bold, but not smart. She still messaged me daily, pretending nothing had changed. Dylan's birthday was coming up in 2 weeks. We were planning a dinner at home with close friends. That would be my stage. The next days were a performance. I smiled, cooked his favorite meals, even bought him a new watch as a gift. Meanwhile, I edited the footage into a 3-minute video. No nudity, no words, just enough to expose the truth. I added soft background music, the same song that played at our wedding. When I finished, I saved it on my phone, labeled as Birthday Tribute. Every time I watched it, I felt nothing but calm. The kind of calm that only comes after you've stopped loving someone who destroyed you. The night of Dylan's birthday, the house was glowing with candles and laughter. 10 guests, including Claire. She wore a red dress, the same lipstick that had stained his shirt. "Speech! Speech!" someone shouted. Dylan stood, smiling like the man I used to adore. He thanked everyone, kissed my cheek, said he was lucky to have such a supportive wife. The irony almost made me laugh. When the applause died down, I smiled sweetly and said, "Before we cut the cake, I made a little video for you, honey. Just a small tribute." I connected my phone to the projector. The screen flickered. At first, everyone saw clips of us laughing together, traveling, smiling, our perfect life. Then it cut to the living room footage. The room went silent. Claire's voice echoed through the speakers. Her laugh, his hands on her, their whispers. Gasps filled the air. Someone muttered, "Oh my God." Dylan's face drained of color. Claire froze, clutching her wine glass, trembling. He jumped up, trying to turn off the screen, but I'd already locked the controls. The video kept playing, ending with one final shot. Claire picking up our wedding photo, saying, "She's too naive to ever find out." When it ended, silence. Then whispers. Shock. Judgment. I stood up slowly. "For the record," I said, my voice steady, "I'm not naive anymore." I turned to Dylan. "Happy birthday." And I walked out. I moved out the next day. He tried calling, texting, begging. Claire moved away quietly. Rumor had it her husband found out too. A few months later, the divorce was finalized. I didn't fight for revenge in court. I didn't need to. His reputation was gone, his career suffered, and his friends stopped calling. One evening, I sat on the balcony of my new apartment, sipping tea, watching the sunset bleed across the sky. It was quiet, peaceful, and for the first time in a long time, I felt free. I realized that closure doesn't always come from apologies or explanations. Sometimes it comes from finally seeing the truth and refusing to let it define you. Dylan's betrayal didn't destroy me. It rebuilt me, stronger, sharper, unbreakable. If you've ever trusted the wrong person and found your strength in their betrayal, hit the like button. Tell me, would you have exposed them or walked away quietly? You've just stepped into her revenge side, where every wound finds its justice, and every silence ends with truth. If her story struck a chord, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps these stories alive. Another secret waits in the next video. See how her revenge begins.